The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the windows of St. Mary's Children's Hospital. The corridors hummed with the quiet rhythm of medical equipment. Nurses moved softly between rooms. The gentle beeping of monitors created a soundtrack of hope and healing. Anna Lewis walked down the pediatric ward hallway. Her brown hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her simple blue scrubs were worn but clean. At 27, Anna had the kind of gentle presence that made scared children feel safer. She carried a medication tray in one hand. Her other hand gripped a worn canvas bag. The bag contained everything Anna owned that mattered. A few textbooks from nursing school, her stethoscope, a change of clothes, and something very special. From room 237 came the sound of heartbroken sobbing. Anna paused outside the door. She had learned to recognize different types of crying during her 3 years at the hospital. This was the desperate sound of a child who felt completely alone. Anna knocked gently and entered the room. 7-year-old Lily Chen lay in the hospital bed. Tubes and wires connected her small body to various machines. Her dark hair spread across the pillow like spilled ink. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Hello, sweetheart," Anna said softly. "I'm Anna. I'm going to be taking care of you today." Lily looked up with eyes that held too much fear for someone so young. "I want my mommy," she whispered. "When is she coming back?" Anna's heart ached. She had read Lily's chart. The little girl's mother worked 2 jobs to pay for medical bills. She could only visit during evening hours after her shifts ended. "Your mommy loves you very much," Anna said gently. "She'll be here as soon as she can. Right now, she's working hard to make sure you get better." "I'm scared," Lily admitted. "Everything hurts, and it's so quiet here." Anna sat down in the chair beside the bed. She understood loneliness. She had felt it herself many times during long hospital shifts, during nights when her apartment felt too empty, during moments when being strong for everyone else left no energy for herself. "You know what?" Anna said, reaching into her canvas bag. "I have something that might help." She pulled out a small cloth doll. The doll was obviously handmade. Its dress was faded blue fabric. Its face was embroidered with simple stitches. One of its button eyes was slightly loose. The doll wasn't much to look at, but it was precious to Anna. It was the only thing she had left from her childhood. Her grandmother had made it when Anna was 5 years old. It had been her companion through foster homes and lonely nights. "This is Rosie," Anna said, holding the doll carefully. "She's been my friend for a very long time." Lily stopped crying and looked at the doll with curiosity. "She's pretty." "She is, isn't she?" Anna smiled. "Rosie has a very special job. She protects little girls who are feeling scared or sad." Anna gently placed the doll in Lily's arms. "Would you like her to stay with you?" "She's very good at keeping people company." Lily hugged the doll close to her chest. For the first time since Anna had entered the room, the little girl's tears stopped. "But won't you miss her?" Lily asked. Anna felt a pang in her chest. She would miss Rosie terribly. The doll was her only connection to happy childhood memories. But looking at Lily's face, Anna knew this was exactly what Rosie was meant for. "I think Rosie has been waiting for someone special to take care of," Anna said. "Someone who needs her more than I do." Lily smiled for the first time in days. She whispered something to the doll, then settled back against her pillow. Within minutes, she had fallen into peaceful sleep. Anna stood quietly beside the bed. She watched Lily's steady breathing. The sight of the little girl finally at rest made her sacrifice feel worthwhile. What Anna didn't know was that someone had been watching the entire scene. In the hallway outside the room, Thomas Carter stood motionless. The well-dressed businessman had come to visit his own daughter in another wing of the hospital, but he had stopped when he heard the crying. He had witnessed Anna's simple act of kindness. He had seen her give away something that was clearly precious to her. Thomas felt tears forming in his eyes. In his 52 years of life, he had rarely seen such pure selflessness. The nurse didn't know who was watching. She wasn't performing for an audience. She was simply being kind because kindness was needed. As Anna quietly left Lily's room, Thomas stepped back into the shadows. But his mind was already working. He was thinking about foundations and funding, about ways to multiply the impact of the kindness he had just witnessed. Where are you watching this video right now? At home, at work, or while resting? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from each and every one of you. Anna Lewis had learned to survive on very little. Her life had been a series of budget calculations and difficult choices since she was 18 years old. Every dollar had to be stretched. Every decision weighed against financial reality. She lived in a studio apartment 20 minutes from the hospital. The rent consumed half her monthly salary. The space was barely large enough for a bed, a small table, and a tiny kitchenette. But it was clean and safe. More importantly, it was hers. Anna's path to nursing had been far from traditional. She had grown up in the foster care system after her parents died in a car accident when she was 5. Her grandmother had taken care of her for 2 years before her own death left Anna alone again. The foster families were kind but temporary. Anna learned early not to get too attached to places or people. She focused instead on school and the dream of someday helping others the way she wished someone had helped her. She worked throughout high school. She saved every penny for college applications and textbooks. When she graduated, Anna had enough money for 1 semester of nursing school and a deposit on her tiny apartment. The nursing program at community college was designed for working students. Classes were scheduled around hospital shifts and part-time jobs. Anna worked as a janitor during school. She cleaned the same hospital where she now served as a nurse. The irony wasn't lost on her. She had mopped the floors of the pediatric ward before she ever imagined caring for the children who walked on them. Student loans covered tuition, but left nothing for living expenses. Anna survived on ramen noodles and determination. She bought used textbooks and shared study materials with classmates. Her wardrobe consisted of scrubs from the hospital's donation closet. But Anna never complained. She understood that hardship was temporary if you worked hard enough to change it. Every difficult day brought her closer to her goal of becoming a registered nurse. Graduation day had been bittersweet. Anna walked across the stage alone. No family members cheered from the audience. No celebration dinner waited afterward. But she felt proud of what she had accomplished. The job at St. Mary's Children's Hospital paid $32,000 annually. It was more money than Anna had ever had access to. But it was also barely enough to cover rent, utilities, student loan payments, and basic necessities. Anna budgeted carefully. She allowed herself $20 per week for groceries, $10 for personal expenses. Everything else went to bills and loan payments. There was no money for entertainment or luxuries. But there was always money for the children. Anna had started buying small gifts for her patients almost immediately. A coloring book here, a pack of crayons there, used storybooks from garage sales and thrift stores. She told herself these were medical expenses. Happy children healed faster than sad ones. The other nurses noticed Anna's generosity but didn't understand how she afforded it. They assumed she came from a wealthy family or had savings they didn't know about. Anna never corrected these assumptions. The truth was that Anna's toy budget came from skipping meals and walking to work instead of taking the bus. She bought day-old bread and discounted produce. She mended her clothes instead of buying new ones. The cloth doll she had given to Lily was Anna's most precious possession. It represented the only stable relationship of her childhood. Her grandmother had sewn it with love during the brief period when Anna felt truly wanted and cared for. "This doll will always be with you," her grandmother had said, "even when I can't be." Anna had carried those words through foster homes and lonely nights. The doll had been her comfort during medical school stress and financial uncertainty. It was the one thing she had never considered selling, even during her hungriest moments. But seeing Lily's fear and isolation had triggered something deeper than personal attachment. Anna recognized the look in the little girl's eyes, the desperate need for connection and comfort, the feeling of being small and powerless in a world that seemed too big and frightening. Anna's colleagues respected her work ethic and compassion, but they had no idea how much their quiet teammates struggled outside the hospital walls. Anna arrived early and stayed late partly because she loved her work, but also because the hospital felt more like home than her empty apartment. She ate lunch in the cafeteria because it was cheaper than packing food. She volunteered for extra shifts because overtime pay helped with student loans. She never complained about difficult assignments because she was grateful to have work that felt meaningful. The other nurses assumed Anna's sunny disposition came from natural optimism. They didn't realize it was a choice she made every day, a decision to focus on what she could give rather than what she lacked. Anna had learned that happiness wasn't about having enough for yourself. It was about finding ways to share whatever you had with people who needed it more, even when you didn't have much to share. even when sharing meant giving away the only thing that connected you to love and safety from your past. In the days following Lily's admission to the hospital, Thomas Carter found himself returning to the pediatric ward more frequently than his daughter's treatment schedule required. He told himself he was checking on Emma's progress, but the truth was more complicated. Thomas couldn't stop thinking about the scene he had witnessed, the nurse giving away her treasured doll to comfort a frightened child. The simple act had stirred something in him that business success had never touched. As CEO of Carter Industries, Thomas was accustomed to grand gestures and strategic philanthropy. His company donated millions to various causes. His name appeared on hospital wings and scholarship programs, but those contributions felt different from what he had observed in room 237. Anna's gift had been personal, costly in ways that had nothing to do with money. She had given from her heart rather than her surplus. Thomas began arriving early for Emma's appointments. He walked the halls and observed the daily rhythm of the children's ward. He watched Anna work with other patients, her gentle approach with scared children, her patience with worried parents, her quiet competence during medical procedures. What struck Thomas most was how Anna treated every child as if they were the most important person in the world. She remembered names and preferences. She brought small gifts that seemed perfectly chosen for each individual patient. She created moments of joy in a place where joy was often scarce. "Dad, you're distracted," Emma observed during one of their visits. At 9 years old, she was perceptive beyond her years. "Is everything okay?" "I'm just thinking about how hard the nurses work here," Thomas replied. "Have you noticed how kind they are?" "Especially Anna," Emma said immediately. "She's the best one. She always remembers that I like the dinosaur stickers instead of the princess ones." Thomas smiled. Even his daughter had noticed Anna's special qualities. That afternoon, Thomas asked to speak with the head of pediatric nursing. Dr. Sandra Mills had supervised the children's ward for 15 years. She was known for her high standards and protective attitude toward her staff. "I wanted to ask about one of your nurses," Thomas said. "Anna Lewis. My daughter speaks very highly of her." Dr. Mills smiled immediately. "Anna is exceptional. She's one of our most dedicated team members. Can you tell me more about her background?" Dr. Mills hesitated. Patient confidentiality extended to staff privacy as well. "I can tell you that Anna works harder than anyone else on my team. She volunteers for difficult cases. She never complains about overtime. And she has a gift for connecting with children who are struggling emotionally. Does she have family support? People who help her manage the stress of this work?" "Anna is very independent," Dr. Mills said carefully. "She doesn't talk much about her personal life, but I know she lives alone and doesn't seem to have many outside resources." Thomas left the conversation with more questions than answers, but he also had the beginning of an idea. The next week, Thomas arranged to have lunch in the hospital cafeteria during Anna's break time. He chose a table where he could observe without being obvious. What he saw confirmed his growing admiration for the young nurse. Anna sat alone with a simple sandwich and water. She spent most of her lunch break reading to a 4-year-old patient whose mother couldn't visit during the day. The little boy sat on Anna's lap while she showed him pictures in a colorful storybook. After the child returned to his room, Anna used the remaining time to organize a collection of small toys and books. Thomas realized these were the gifts she distributed to patients. He watched her carefully sort items by age, appropriateness, and therapeutic value. The meal itself was clearly an afterthought. Anna ate quickly and mechanically. Her focus was entirely on preparing for the afternoon's patient care. Thomas approached her table as she was preparing to leave. "Excuse me, you're Anna, aren't you? I'm Thomas Carter. My daughter Emma is one of your patients." Anna's face lit up with recognition. "Mr. Carter, Emma is wonderful. She's been so brave during her treatments. You should be very proud." "I am proud, and I'm grateful for the exceptional care she's received here, particularly from you." Anna smiled modestly. "We have an excellent team. Emma makes our job easy because she's such a delightful patient." "I've been watching how you work with all the children," Thomas continued. "It's clear that you go far beyond what's required. The small gifts, the extra attention, the way you remember personal details about each child." Anna looked slightly uncomfortable with the praise. "The children are going through something very difficult. If I can make it a little easier, that's just part of the job." "Is it part of the job to give away your own possessions?" Thomas asked gently. Anna's expression became guarded. I'm not sure what you mean. I saw you give your doll to Lily Chen, the one that was obviously precious to you. Anna was quiet for a moment. Lily needed it more than I did. That's exactly what I mean, Thomas said. You could have gone to the hospital gift shop. You could have asked someone else to provide comfort items. Instead, you gave something that belonged to you personally. Mr. Carter, if you're concerned about professional boundaries— I'm not concerned, Thomas interrupted. I'm inspired. Anna looked puzzled. Inspired? By the kind of person who gives from her heart instead of her surplus. The world needs more people like you. 2 weeks later, Thomas Carter returned to the hospital with an envelope that had required several conversations with his financial advisors to arrange. Inside was a cashier's check for $50,000, made out to Anna Lewis. He found Anna during her lunch break, once again reading to a group of young patients in the hospital's small library corner. She was showing them pictures in a book about friendly monsters who help children overcome their fears. And the purple monster taught Tommy that shots only hurt for a second, but they keep you healthy for a whole year, Anna read, making her voice dramatic for the monster's dialogue. The children giggled and asked questions about the story. Anna answered each one patiently, encouraging them to share their own experiences with medical procedures. Thomas watched her transform a simple story time into an informal therapy session. After the children returned to their rooms, Thomas approached Anna. Ms. Lewis, could I speak with you privately? They found a quiet corner near the hospital chapel. Thomas pulled out the envelope and handed it to Anna. I want you to have this. Anna opened the envelope and nearly dropped it when she saw the check. Mr. Carter, I don't understand. What is this for? It's for you. To make your life easier, to give you some financial security so you can focus on the work you love without worrying about money. Anna stared at the check for a long moment. $50,000 would eliminate her student loans completely. It would allow her to move to a better apartment. It would mean she could eat proper meals and buy new clothes and stop calculating every expense. But something about the offer made her deeply uncomfortable. Mr. Carter, this is incredibly generous, but I can't accept this. Thomas had expected some initial resistance. Anna, please consider it. You work so hard and give so much to others. You deserve to have someone give something to you. But you don't really know me, Anna said gently. You're offering this because you saw me give Lily my doll. But that was just what anyone would do in that situation. No, it wasn't. Most people would have gone to the gift shop. Most people wouldn't have given away something with personal significance. Anna handed the check back to him. Mr. Carter, if you want to help sick children, there are better ways to spend this money. The hospital needs new equipment. Families need help with medical bills. I'm just doing my job. Thomas felt frustrated by her response. But you're clearly struggling financially. This money could change your life. Could it? Anna asked. Or would it just make me dependent on the kindness of wealthy strangers? The question caught Thomas off guard. I don't understand. Anna sat down in one of the chapel chairs. Mr. Carter, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I need to know that my work here has value because of what I contribute, not because someone feels sorry for me. This isn't pity. This is recognition of your exceptional character. Is it? Because it feels like charity for the poor nurse who gave away her only toy. Thomas sat down beside her. Anna, you're being impractical. This money could solve your financial problems. What financial problems? Anna asked. I have a job I love. I have an apartment that's safe and clean. I have enough food to eat. I don't need luxury to be happy. But you could have more. You could travel, pursue additional education, enjoy some of the things that make life pleasant. Anna shook her head. Mr. Carter, I think you're missing the point. I gave Lily my doll because seeing her happy made me happy, not because I was hoping someone would reward me for it. She stood up and adjusted her scrubs. If you really want to honor what you witnessed, find ways to help people that preserve their dignity. Create opportunities instead of handouts. Support systems that empower people instead of making them grateful. What kind of opportunities? I don't know, Anna admitted, but I know that the best help comes from understanding what people actually need, not from assuming what would make them grateful. Thomas watched Anna walk away with the same quiet dignity she showed in everything she did. For the second time since meeting her, he felt she had taught him something important about the difference between charity and compassion. That evening, Thomas called his daughter into his study. "Emma, I want to ask you something. What do you think makes Anna such a good nurse?" Emma considered the question seriously. "She doesn't act like she's helping us because it's her job. She acts like she's helping us because she wants to." "What's the difference?" "When people help because it's their job, they do what they're supposed to do. When they help because they want to, they do what you need them to do." Thomas looked at his 9-year-old daughter with new respect. "That's very wise." "Anna taught me that," Emma said. "She says the best gifts are the ones you give because giving makes you happy, not because you want something back." That night, Thomas lay awake thinking about dignity, empowerment, and the difference between solving problems and creating dependency. Anna had challenged him to think beyond traditional philanthropy, to find ways of helping that honored people's strength rather than highlighting their need. It was the beginning of a completely new approach to how Thomas thought about using his wealth and influence. 6 weeks after Anna refused his money, Thomas Carter made an announcement that surprised everyone who knew him. He was establishing the Heart Foundation, a new charitable organization focused on supporting healthcare workers who demonstrated exceptional compassion in their daily work. But this wasn't traditional philanthropy. Instead of simply writing checks, the foundation would create programs that honored dignity while providing meaningful support. Thomas had spent weeks researching and consulting with experts about sustainable ways to support healthcare workers. He had learned about burnout rates, financial stress, and the lack of recognition that many caregivers experienced. The foundation's first initiative was a scholarship program for nurses pursuing advanced degrees. Recipients would be selected not just for academic merit, but for demonstrated compassion in patient care. The program would cover tuition while allowing nurses to continue working and supporting themselves. Thomas arranged to announce the foundation at St. Mary's Children's Hospital. The event was held in the main conference room, with hospital staff, board members, and local media in attendance. Anna learned about the event from a memo posted on the employee bulletin board. She had no idea why she was specifically requested to attend. She assumed it was just another hospital fundraising announcement. When Anna arrived at the conference room, she was surprised to see Thomas at the podium. She had wondered why he hadn't visited Emma's room in recent weeks. She hoped it meant the little girl was recovering well. "Ladies and gentlemen," Thomas began, "6 weeks ago, I witnessed something in this hospital that changed my understanding of what it means to serve others." Anna felt a flutter of nervousness. Something about Thomas's tone suggested this event was connected to their previous conversations. "I watched a nurse give away her most precious possession to comfort a frightened child. Not because it was required by her job description, not because she expected recognition or reward, but because she understood that healing involves more than medical treatment." Thomas paused and looked directly at Anna. "That nurse is Anna Lewis, and she's here with us today." Anna felt every eye in the room turn toward her. Her cheeks flushed as whispers spread through the audience. She wanted to disappear. "Anna's act of kindness inspired me to think differently about philanthropy and support for healthcare workers," Thomas continued. "Too often, we try to help by solving problems for people instead of empowering them to solve problems themselves." Dr. Mills, Anna's supervisor, leaned over and whispered, "Did you know about this?" Anna shook her head, still trying to process what was happening. "The Heart Foundation will launch 3 programs this year," Thomas announced. "First, the Compassionate Care Scholarship Program, providing educational support for nurses who demonstrate exceptional patient advocacy." The room erupted in applause. Anna realized this was exactly the kind of opportunity she had suggested when she refused Thomas's money. Support that preserved dignity while creating genuine advancement. Second, the Healing Arts Initiative, which will fund creative therapy programs in pediatric wards, music therapy, art therapy, pet therapy, evidence-based programs that support emotional healing alongside medical treatment. Anna thought immediately of the children she worked with, how much they would benefit from professional therapeutic support beyond what nurses could provide during busy shifts. Finally, the Heart Foundation will establish the Anna Lewis Community Care Grant Program. Anna gasped audibly. The room turned toward her again, but this time the expressions were warm and congratulatory rather than curious. This program will provide micro-grants to healthcare workers who want to develop small-scale initiatives in their communities. Projects that address local needs through compassionate, grassroots solutions. Thomas stepped away from the podium and walked toward Anna. Anna, when you refused my financial gift, you taught me that the best support preserves people's agency and honors their choices. These programs are designed to do exactly that. Anna stood on shaky legs. Mr. Carter, I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept the first compassionate care scholarship. Your supervisor tells me you've been interested in pursuing a master's degree in pediatric nursing. Anna had mentioned that dream to Dr. Mills months ago, but she'd never imagined it could become reality. Yes, I would love that opportunity. The applause was immediate and sustained. Anna felt tears streaming down her face as colleagues she'd worked with for 3 years showed their support and enthusiasm. But Thomas wasn't finished. There's one more thing. Emma has something she wants to say. To Anna's amazement, Thomas's daughter walked to the front of the room. The 9-year-old approached the microphone with the confidence of someone who had important words to share. Hi, Anna, Emma said, her voice clear and strong. My daddy told me about the doll you gave to Lily. I wanted everyone to know that you gave me something even more important. Anna wiped her eyes, curious about what Emma would say. You gave me the feeling that grown-ups could be trusted to take care of kids even when kids are scared. You never lied to me about medical stuff. You never pretended things wouldn't hurt when they would, but you also never made me feel like I was alone. Emma paused, looking directly at Anna. Daddy says the foundation is named the Heart Foundation because you showed him what it looks like when someone shares their heart with other people. The room was completely silent now. Anna felt overwhelmed by the connection between her simple daily choices and this moment of recognition. Anna, Emma continued, I kept Lily's doll company when she went home from the hospital, but I made sure to tell her that the best thing about the doll wasn't the doll itself. It was knowing that someone cared enough to give her something special. Anna walked to the front of the room and knelt beside Emma. Thank you for taking care of Lily's doll, and thank you for being so brave during your treatment. Emma hugged Anna tightly. Thank you for showing me that being scared is okay as long as someone kind is taking care of you. As the formal program concluded and people began congratulating Anna, Thomas approached her one more time. Anna, I hope you understand that this foundation isn't about what you gave up. It's about what you taught me about the difference between charity and justice, between helping and empowering. Anna smiled through her tears. Mr. Carter, I think this is exactly what the world needs. Thank you for listening. Thank you for teaching. How do you feel knowing the truth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Hidden Heroine so you never miss incredible stories like this one. 1 year later, Anna Lewis walked through the newly renovated children's wing of St. Mary's Hospital. The walls were painted in cheerful colors. Music drifted from the therapy room, where children worked with professional art and music therapists. The sound of laughter mixed with the usual medical equipment beeping. Anna wore a different uniform now. Instead of basic scrubs, she wore the forest green of the hospital's advanced practice nursing staff. The master's degree program had been challenging while working full-time, but the Heart Foundation scholarship had made it possible without financial stress. Her new role as pediatric patient advocate allowed Anna to focus entirely on the emotional and social needs of young patients. She worked with families to navigate complex medical decisions. She coordinated with therapists and social workers. She trained other nurses in trauma-informed care approaches. But she still spent time in patient rooms, still read stories and offered comfort during difficult procedures, still remembered that healing required both medical expertise and human connection. Miss Anna, called 6-year-old Marcus, running down the hallway with a bright painting in his hands. Look what I made in art therapy. The painting showed a hospital bed surrounded by friendly faces, doctors, nurses, therapists, and family members all smiling and holding hands around a small figure representing Marcus himself. It's beautiful, Anna said, kneeling to examine the details. Tell me about all these people. They're my hospital family, Marcus explained. The art therapy lady taught me that hospitals are places where lots of people work together to help kids feel better. Anna thought about how different this conversation was from the fear and loneliness she used to see in children's eyes. The Heart Foundation's programs had transformed not just individual experiences, but the entire culture of pediatric care. The Healing Arts Initiative now operated in 12 hospitals across 3 states. Children had access to music therapy, art therapy, pet therapy, and even yoga instruction designed specifically for young patients dealing with medical stress. The Community Care Grant Program had funded over 200 small projects. Nurses had started support groups for families dealing with chronic illnesses. They had created libraries of medical teddy bears that helped children understand procedures. They had developed programs that paired teenage patients with younger children facing similar diagnoses. But perhaps most meaningfully, the Compassionate Care Scholarship Program had enabled 37 healthcare workers to pursue advanced education while continuing to serve their communities. Anna was the first recipient, but she was no longer alone in balancing school with patient care. "Anna," called Dr. Mills from down the hallway, "the Heart Foundation Board is here for their quarterly visit. Thomas Carter is asking for you specifically." Anna found Thomas in the family conference room, surrounded by board members and hospital administrators. But when he saw her, his face lit up with the warmth she had come to associate with their unlikely friendship. "Anna, perfect timing. I was just telling the board about next year's expansion plans." "More hospitals?" Anna asked. "More everything," Thomas replied. "We're launching the program in pediatric units nationally, but we're also expanding into elder care facilities and community health centers, anywhere that healthcare workers demonstrate the kind of compassion we witnessed here." Emma Carter, now 10 years old and cancer-free for 8 months, approached Anna with a familiar-looking cloth doll in her arms. "Anna, I have something for you," Emma said. Anna recognized the doll immediately. It was Rosie, carefully cleaned and mended. The loose button eye had been securely reattached. The faded dress had been lovingly refreshed. "Lily asked me to give this back to you," Emma explained. "She said Rosie taught her how to be brave, and now she wants to teach other kids the same thing." Anna accepted the doll with trembling hands. But Rosie was meant to stay with her. "Lily says Rosie's job is to help kids learn they can be brave. Once they learn that, Rosie needs to find new kids to teach." Thomas smiled as he watched Anna cradle the doll that had started everything. "Lily is right, you know. The best gifts are the ones that keep giving." Anna looked around the room filled with people who had dedicated themselves to supporting healthcare workers and expanding access to compassionate care. The small act of giving away her treasured doll had created ripples that continued to spread. A small act of kindness can light hope for an entire community. Outside the conference room windows, the afternoon sun cast the same gentle shadows that had illuminated the hallway on the day Anna first met Lily. But now those shadows fell across a transformed space where children laughed instead of crying alone, where families found support instead of navigating crisis in isolation, and where healthcare workers knew their compassion was valued and supported. If you believe that kindness, no matter how small, can change destiny, please subscribe to Hidden Heroine. Let's spread these heartwarming stories together.